Hola, I'm Jenny, and once I told my parents I was moving to Mexico, and also every time I go on vacation abroad, they're always concerned about my safety. So today I'm telling you all about how I stay safe while traveling solo as a female. First, just make sure you choose a safe location. If you know a neighborhood or a city has a certain bad rep, then don't go there, avoid it. Most of my next points have to do with blending in or using common sense. So let's start with blending in. Wherever you're going, you want to try and dress like the locals. And regardless of how wealthy people dress in wherever you're visiting, try to dress like down a bit. You don't want to wear anything flashy. You don't want to have out the latest iPhone in your hand. Nothing that attracts attention like you might have lots of money on you. If everyone is wearing a hijab, you don't want to be walking around in shorts and a tank top. Just do your research ahead of time and find something that will help best blend you in. Another way to blend in is by speaking the local language. This helps you for two reasons. One, if you are speaking English, let's say on the telephone, or if you're traveling with a group of English speakers, you're drawing a lot of attention to yourself, and people associate Americans with having lots of money. Secondly, if they see that you understand the language, you're less likely to be taken advantage of. Maybe they assume you've already been there, so you already know what to expect. A taxi ride to cost, so they're not going to try to price gouge you. Or they assume you've been here before and you already know what to expect as far as typical scams that take place in that neck of the woods. Knowing the language also helps in emergency situations. Let's say you're going to Thailand and your appendix ruptures. Well, will you find a doctor that speaks English? You might, but don't count on it. So it's just better to be prepared. And don't be fooled into thinking that everyone speaks English whenever you're traveling abroad. Will you find people that speak English? Yes, depends on the country, but usually if you're going to some kind of resort or a major tourist destination, you'll find people that speak English. However, they are like trained in their area, maybe giving directions, giving suggestions on what to see. They probably don't have the capacity to help you in an emergency. Not that this was an emergency, but let me give you the example of the time I went to Costa Rica. We had rented a car, and when we showed up to the rental agency, they said our car was no longer available. Well, if you only speak English, what are you going to do? Just kind of nod your head showing you understand and be like, okay. But me being fluent in Spanish, I was able to resolve the situation and insist that he find us a car because we already paid for the rental. We don't need the details, but it just came in very handy and we got our car. The other thing you can do to blend in is just walking around with confidence. Observe what other people are doing and see kind of what the social norms are. Try to mimic what you're seeing. I know you might be walking around a little lost or you're looking for a certain landmark or street that you need to turn on, but just walk with confidence, turn that corner. And then whenever you find a spot away from other people where you can kind of step off of the sidewalk and not be right next to the road, then pull your phone out briefly to look at your map and then put it away. You don't want to be like with your phone in your hands, wandering around looking lost, especially if you're standing next to the street or in a crowd, because a motorcycle could drive by or somebody can walk by and just yank that out of your hand and go. You're also likely to be a target of a scam. If they see you're obviously not from there, you're fumbling around. Let's say you're obviously looking a little lost. Somebody comes over to help you. 9 times out of 10, they're probably just a good person that honestly wants to help you. But that 1 time out of 10 can go horribly wrong. You're looking at the map, you're listening to their directions, you're distracted with that, and meanwhile, somebody else is pickpocketing you. That's like tag teaming with them. You also want to be very familiar with the currency. The last thing you want to do is be paying at a restaurant or paying at a market, like fumbling through to see what is the $50, well, not dollars necessarily, but What does the 50 bill look like? What does the 100 bill look like? Because if you're not sure what is what, like, they're more than likely going to give you the incorrect change, or with you fumbling through your money, that gives someone a chance to like snatch it out of your hand and run. Okay, let's move into more common sense sort of stuff. You're not gonna go out at night, especially alone. You're not going to get into an unmarked white van that's offering you candy. Just use your brain a little bit. I don't personally use drugs or alcohol anyway, but if you do, do not while you are traveling abroad, especially if alone. You are not in the right headspace to make decisions. You're not able to be aware of your surroundings like you usually would be. You're going to be taken advantage of. Which brings me to the next point, always be aware of your surroundings. As I'm walking, I'm not just taking pictures and walking straight ahead or walking with my head down. Like every so often kind of glance to see if anybody has been following me. If somebody is looking a little shady, I will make eye contact so that they know that I know they're around. And usually that will kind of deter anybody that had bad intentions. Another thing I do to stay safe is to not put all of my money and or cards in the same spot. Obviously, like going from the airport to your accommodation, you're going to have everything on you, but that doesn't mean it has to all be in the same spot. I will put a little bit in my backpack, in different compartments in my backpack. I'll put a little bit in this pocket, and then a little bit in that pocket. Maybe a little bit in my shoe, just so if someone were to steal it, like I would still have other money to get me by. And then obviously once I reach my destination, I just don't keep carrying everything around. I leave part of it at my accommodation and take part of it with me. And if you're not sure if you can trust the place you're leaving it, find a way to hide it. I am just always sure to have some cash on me and one card on me, and leave at least one card and some more cash back at home. That way if they steal whatever is on me, I still have a way to access money once I get back to my room. And finally, I always make friends with the locals. The first one may not be the safest option, but it's always gone well for me, is joining Tinder once I get to the country and finding friends. That way I make it clear like I'm just on vacation. I don't want a relationship, like I'll be going in a few weeks. But they're always happy to show me around and tell me what to do, what to avoid. I pretty much trust the app to not give me anyone too shady, because like they're already on there trying to meet people. So it's not like they saw me in the street and like, oh, she's a gringa, she might have money, and then them targeting me. Like they're already wanting to meet people. Does that make sense? But if Tinder or any other kind of apps make you nervous, I 100% understand. I'm not going to say it's the safest option, but find one of your hobbies to do in that country. For example, I salsa dance and I swing dance, so go out. People are going to talk to you, and that's a good way to like go grab dinner with them later, or go visit something the next day. Maybe you play some kind of sport and you want to go practice that while you are abroad. That's a great way to make good friends. Or you're just at a restaurant and you notice someone else eating alone, ask to sit with them. People tend to be very friendly. I actually met one of my friends by going to a restaurant in Mexico. They had some normal seating, then they also had some like seating at stools with a bar top. And so the only seat open was next to this guy I didn't know. He happened to be eating alone as well. So we were just kind of talking as we were eating, and we ended up hanging out for a bit afterwards. And I met my other good friend from Mexico salsa dancing. And kind of a funny story, there's a friend I met from an app who introduced me to another friend, and she happened to salsa dance as well and already knew the friend I met while salsa dancing. So she and I became friends too. And she's also a singer-songwriter, so I went to her apartment a few times to jam and write a song together. So to conclude, again, try to blend in, use common sense, and do your research. Let me know what kind of travel plans you have coming up, what makes you nervous about traveling, or what makes you comfortable traveling. I would love to hear about that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.